What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Toast Time here on the Vendetta Sports Media Network. We are recording on December the 16th at 7:03 p.m. I'm here with Jackson, as always. Jackson, what's going on?
Oh, nothing much, man. Just working, getting ready for the holidays, playing a bunch of Cyberpunk. You know how it goes.
Yeah, me too, pretty much. I got a blizzard. I got a blizzard right outside my door right now, so hunkered down and ready to talk some toast.
Let's do it.
All right. So roll right into it. Uh my buttery pick this week. You know, this is a guy who I actually been surprised. I haven't really given him much love like all year. Like I haven't talked about him, which is funny because uh he's probably one of the best guys in the NFL right now from my favorite college team, University of Alabama. That's Derrick Henry. He's just had an absolute monster season. Like it's almost like you expect him to have 200 yards and two touchdowns a game, like at the minimum at this point. It's like getting ridiculous what he's doing. And like I don't know if it was because he had that crazy run during the playoffs and when players like have runs like that during the playoffs, most of the time it's just kind of like they just got hot and like that was it. But apparently with him, he's figured something out and like cuz he has just been putting up numbers and on a consistent basis too. It's just week in, week out. This dude is just shredding defenses apart. And it's not because he's got finesse. It's because nobody can tackle the man. And I don't blame him. When you get into the fourth quarter and you go one on one with Derrick Henry, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna die for his legs and hope for the best.
Yeah, definitely like some big Marshawn Lynch vibes from him. Just because of the way he runs, like he's not really out to make you miss. He's just gonna run through you, and that makes me kind of worry about his longevity a little bit. But he's still an explosive player. Uh, Deservingly in the MVP conversation as like a dark horse MVP candidate, and I'm happy to see it happen because there's been other like very strong backs that come out of Alabama, specifically Alabama, and specifically in like the early to mid 2010s. They had like what, three or four, couple of them winning
Yeah.
Heisman's, and it's finally, I'm glad to see, even though I don't, I'm a fan of a team that I would say is a rival, but they kick our ass every year. So you gotta win games, as Joel Embiid says. You gotta win some games for it to be a rivalry. They just spanked us like 52-3
Oh yeah,
this
you're
past week.
Arkansas
So
fan. I was actually thinking of
yeah,
actually
yeah,
when that game was when that game
yeah,
was on.
bro. But hey, I'm happy for him. Seems like a good guy. All hail the king. That's all I gotta say. All right. So, but speaking of MVPs, my buttery pick this week is another guy, kind of similarly. I honestly didn't think he was going to have this good of a season. In fact, I thought it was going to be a pretty down year. And I guess this is my formal apology to Aaron Rodgers. Is that, my gosh, this man is just on a tear this season. This past week against the lowly Lions, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Um, this guy has only thrown, let me see, he's only thrown 4 interceptions this season so far, and he's got 39 touchdowns. And I think I saw something, I wish I could have found it. I just didn't have time to look it up. But he's like the fastest player in the NFL to have like 36 plus touchdowns with fewer than like 5 interceptions or something like that. I can't remember the exact statistic that it was, but he's just having a ridiculous season. And because of even though the Chiefs won, just how terrible of a game Mahomes had, thanks to my Dolphins. Shout out to them. Honorary buttery Dolphins defense put up a hell of a fight this past week. Time to go stick it to the Patriots and then the Raiders, and then we'll see how the Bills go. Um, but yeah, he's having a hell of a season, and right now I think he's probably got the MVP on lock if the Packers can win out.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers. I wrote about him. I was writing about him early on this year. I was big on Aaron Rodgers because listen, like last year he didn't have like an Aaron Rodgers season. Like it was probably like one of the first times like we looked at him and was like, I can see the decline. Like at least like it's on the way. Like it's coming. And this season, he kind of just like he just shut everyone up. He got mad at his front office for not taking a wide receiver. He said, "Yeah, your boy Jordan Love, this kid ain't seeing the field for another 3 years." So he just went off with his only weapon, being Devontae Adams, and then whoever else the Packers can scrap together on that offense. And he said, "I don't care, whatever we got, I'll make it work." And he's been having a great year. I love Aaron Rodgers, and I just feel bad for the man just because he had Mike McCarthy for so long and they only won one
I
Super
know.
Bowl. They only
I know.
got there one time. Like, I'm sorry, but like there was so many years where that team was just too good to not make the Super Bowl, and like they just been constantly getting knocked out in the NFC Championship game. It's like it's like almost tradition at this point. Like Packers are
Yeah.
in the NFC Championship game, but they're not going to win it.
Yeah, and as good as a quarterback as Rodgers is, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. When first year eligibility, he's in, and we don't have to worry about that anymore. But it got to the point. I remember reading a story during the McCarthy era where he was just like straight up like changing the play. Like McCarthy would call one thing, and he's like, "Oh, okay, hey guys, here's what we're really gonna run." He was just picking plays on the fly, and then like there was an entire drive. I remember one time where he called every single play. Like McCarthy didn't even say anything. He just told McCarthy to shut up. And he was just calling the plays the whole time. And it was like a game-winning drive. But you need a good coach because sometimes you see things differently on the sidelines than you do on the field. But yeah, I fully blame McCarthy for the wasting Rodgers' prime. But hey, a Packers Super Bowl would be pretty fun. Packers and Chiefs.
Yeah,
That'd be fun.
definitely be entertaining. I tell you what, I think no matter what Super Bowl matchup we get this year, like in my honest opinion, um, I think it's gonna be Chiefs and Saints, or Chiefs and Packers, just because those three teams have been like really good. Like the Saints defense, like turned it up like crazy the past couple of weeks. Granted, they laid an egg against Jalen Hurts and the lowly Eagles, but you
Yeah.
know, but we'll see. But I think
Hey,
it'll be an entertaining Super Bowl again this year. Like last year was a really entertaining one. Anything was better than Patriots Rams.
oh,
Uh,
that's true.
2 3
Literally
years ago, whatever
anything.
that was. Oof, that was a snooze fest. Oh
Yeah.
boy. But talking about snooze fest. Definitely want to fall asleep when you realize you burnt your toast, which is what we got. Our next segment. My man, I'm burnt toast this week. This is a guy who this is just solely for recently. Other than that, he's had a decent year when he's healthy, but just recently, I'm sorry I got to do this to him because he was on my fantasy team this year and I actually liked him when he was in. It was Deontay Johnson of the
Mm.
Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, I don't know what this guy's been doing. I don't know if he like started some pregame ritual of eating Butterfingers before before the game, but he's been dropping passes left and right. It's just, and it got so bad. I think the Steelers benched him for like a series or two against the Bills because he just kept dropping passes. This has been going on for 2 games now. He's been just every ball that was coming his way, just his brick hands. It's like like Deontay Johnson, his pillow hands just turned into lobster claws, and he can't catch a single thing right now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with him, but he's got to figure it out soon because that's because the Steelers need everybody on that offense that they can get production out of. Because they've fallen off a little bit. They lost 2 in a row after being 11-0, but that's because I just think that defense has started to suffer some big injuries that are going to be tough to overcome. So the only way you overcome them is if your offense starts putting up 30 a game. Now I don't think the Steelers are 30 a game offense anymore with the age of Big Ben, but Guys like Deontay Johnson, he's going to have to stop dropping the ball if they want any hope of
Yeah.
doing well in the playoffs.
Yeah, no, Deontay Johnson and just the rest of that receiving core is not doing, you know, the Big Ben any favors, and even Big Ben himself hasn't been playing too hot. And yours kind of is a more specific, but mine I actually was going to go with the just the Steelers offense in general with mine because I don't know what it's been the past 3 weeks, but there's just no run game and it's you can't rely and throw 50, 40 something times with Big Ben and they're just these like little dinky passes without a run game. The only reason why Tom Brady got away with it the last couple years and even won a Super Bowl with it was because there was something of a run game there. There's no run game. There was early in the season, but there's not anymore now. And I just think, I agree with, I think it was Scott that put the post out Monday. I think it was either Sunday afternoon after the game or after their game against the Bills, or I think it may have been Monday. But yeah, they need to get a new offensive coordinator, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The run game is taking a dive. They kind of like all but abandoned the run game at this point. It's like, listen, I know we're in a passing league, but you still have to run the ball. You still got to at least have the threat of running the ball. And it's not like James Conner is a nobody. I mean, James Conner is a pretty decent NFL running back, and you got to find some way to get that man the ball. At least take some pressure off of Big Ben and the receivers.
Mhm. And run something besides just like a slant that's 2 or 3 yards
Yeah, really.
downfield. Like I get it, it's the easy one, but come on.
Steelers offensive playbook got stuck on quick slants, and they don't know what else. They don't know how to change it. Oh man. Oh, so did you give your burnt yet? That was the
Oh
Steelers
yeah,
offense.
no, yeah, that was my
Okay.
burn. It
Okay.
was the Steelers offense kind of specifically targeting the running
Yeah.
the running
All
game.
right.
I
No.
don't, I don't know why they've abandoned the running game. They had a good running game, and that's how they for the first 9 or 10 games, and they're just like, we don't want to run the
Yeah.
football
Right.
anymore. We're good.
All right. Now, for people that have been following me, you had to have known this was coming. You
Oh,
had to have known this
absolutely.
was coming.
I saw the hat, and
You seen the
I was like,
hat.
oh, there,
Now
there it
that
is.
the hat was worn for two reasons. One, because of this guy. Two, because I'm having a bad hair day today. But Jason Garrett, throw my notebook down. I don't even need my notes for this one. Jason Garrett, I, I don't understand what in the world was going on Sunday. Now listen, I can't blame him for starting Daniel Jones because that was an organization decision, which was a mistake. That was a very big mistake because now Daniel Jones uh, has a sprained ankle on his other leg now. So you want to talk about how Daniel Jones couldn't move last week? Well, this week he will be a statue behind what is a competent, incompetent offensive line with a lot of little holes. They're like Swiss cheese. That offensive line. They're like the deli Swiss cheese where you get like one or two holes, like a K. Like it'll be okay for some part of the game, but then at some point you're gonna find the one piece where there's holes everywhere, and whoever's standing back there is gonna get killed. And Daniel Jones, since Daniel Jones can't be White Lightning, he's gonna get murdered if he plays against the Cleveland Browns. Okay, Myles Garrett is gonna do to Daniel Jones worse than what he did to Mason Rudolph last year. Okay, but forget about all that. Jason Garrett's offense is terrible. I don't care who we got, what's going on. I'm sorry, but I get Golden Tate's past his prime. Understandable. Sterling Shepard is not the guy that we thought he was going to be. Darius Slayton actually can be pretty good if he's not being relied on as like the number one target. And Evan Ingram is just a walking garbage can that I can't stand to look at anymore wearing a Giants uniform. But there's got to be something that you got to do. I mean, it's just we're playing the Cardinals, and the run was just not the runs weren't really working for a good portion of the game, and Jason Garrett just came up with nothing. He had nothing to come up with to fix what was inevitably going to be a bad loss. You got defensive linemen running at Daniel Jones all over the place. Daniel Jones, the first time you seen him get sacked, drops the football, fumble. And of course Marcus Golden, of course, the guy that was just on our team like 5 weeks ago. Of course, he's going to come in and now cause Daniel Jones to fumble the ball on the opening drive. What else is new? Just typical Giants luck. Ex-Giants come in and they want to beat us for some reason. Like, we just saved you from mediocrity. I don't know why you're so angry. And like, there's just like, but Evan Ingram doesn't get any looks. It's like the playmakers that we do have don't get looks, and I just don't understand. Like, there's got to be something we can do for them. Like, I don't know, throw some quick slants, throw some short to intermediate routes. Like, you don't got to always have guys running downfield, and then that god awful 3rd and 1 where we throw a bomb to the shortest receiver on our team in Sterling Shepard, and Daniel Jones overthrows him, but it's a 3rd and 1, and like, Wayne Gallman can get you a yard, Alfred Morris can get you a yard. I mean, like, expecting them to get more than 5 was a bit much.
Yeah, you don't need a miracle there. You don't need the big play.
Run it up the middle. Even Daniel,
take the yard and then
even Daniel Jones is your next QB sneak. I mean, Daniel Jones is a big guy. It's not like he's tiny. I mean, he can run a little QB sneak for a yard to get the first. Not a deep shot down the sideline of Sterling Shepard with a quarterback on one leg. Now he's got no legs. But Jason Garrett, you're just extra crispy, and I'm getting real sick and tired of you. I did a whole video about him. I got a meme made out of me by you about him. I'm so sick of Jason Garrett. I'm just tired of this. It's got to be his fault. There's no way this offense is this bad.
Yeah, you are feeling the pain of every Cowboys fan from the past decade. And I feel for you too, man. That was not a good signing. That's not the guy that you want to come in and be in control of your offense when he was in control of Dallas's offense for the longest time. And even though Dallas had some semi-good records, it was just, I felt like the talent was always better than what his coaching was. And that's what got them as far as they did. And it wasn't that far. So, all right. So mine, I believe I even had him last week, and I know it's a dead horse, man. And I got to keep beating it because he's still there and he's still breathing. He technically ain't dead yet. And it is that garbage of a coach that has just pissed me off to even. I didn't even think that I could be this pissed off about a quarterback and a team that isn't even mine and I have no affiliation with whatsoever. Doug mother effing Peterson. It is clear that you wanted Hurts. You don't want Wentz there anymore. You know this team is terrible. You know you're a terrible coach. So what do? You sabotage Wentz's entire season. You give him no offensive line. You get him no weapons. The general manager is a terrible GM. He's drafting dudes that can't even stay healthy and is paying like dudes, $17-18 million a year that see the field for 5 plays and are done for the whole year. You have done no favors. And Jalen Hurts wins 1 game, the savior of Philadelphia. It is clear that you wanted to do this because East Coast fans in general, about all sports, talking to you too, Anthony, like super diehard, super vocal towards their teams. If they are happy, they let you know. If they are unhappy, which is about 99% of the time,
pretty much.
And Philly is going to let the Eagles know that only because they see a W on the schedule against a good team that's running a Swiss Army knife at quarterback instead of like an actual traditional quarterback. They're going to count that as like Wentz wouldn't have won that game. And yeah, Wentz probably wouldn't have won that game. You know why? Because the play calling isn't there. I watched a decent portion of that game because I wanted to see what Doug Peterson was going to do. And I saw some competent coaching. I'm not going to say it was all competent because it's Doug Peterson, but he did win a Super Bowl. So there's some level of competence there. And there was some level of competence in that play calling during that game, which kudos to their defense for stepping up and making some plays. But then again, it's against Taysom Hill. So take that with a grain of salt. It's so sad. And I want to see Wentz on a different team. I want to see him, maybe he goes and he's the heir to Big Ben. Or, maybe that's Sam Darnold. Maybe Sam Darnold takes a step back for a year, learns under Ben, and becomes, that next Steelers QB. I want to see him go to Indy. I think Indy would be a great place for him. He'll actually have an offensive line where he can stay healthy. They just need to get a few weapons to put out there, which I still like T.Y. Hilton, but he's done nothing for me fantasy-wise except for the past 2 weeks. Finally, won a playoff game. Let's go with him. It's probably going to be the farthest I get in our playoffs for the Vendetta fantasy league. But, hey, I take dubs when I can get them. It is so sad because Wentz is a good quarterback. Even at his worst, he's still the best quarterback in that division. The Eagles should always be front runners for that division, unless proven otherwise during the season, when Wentz is quarterback. And it was just complete and utter sabotage on the part of Doug Peterson, because he knows that if he can win a game or two with Hurts and be like, I got to be the guy that coaches this man and that trains him to be an NFL quarterback, then he holds off being fired a few more years, gets a few more million, and then he's out. That wouldn't happen with Wentz, so he's got to sabotage Wentz so he can uplift Hurts, get him a win or two, and then, yeah.
Doug Peterson has just absolutely sabotaged Carson Wentz this season. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you here. I'm a Giants fan. No love lost for the Eagles, as everyone knows. When I watch like sports talk shows, like listen to like sports talk radio up in New York, and the topic of Carson Wentz comes up, I can't believe the level of like just false propaganda that Doug Peterson has spread about this guy.
Disrespect to that man.
They got people thinking that Carson Wentz just can't play at all. He was an MVP candidate last year or 2 years ago. You don't just get bad overnight. It's not like nobody understands it. It's his fault. It's like everybody in the world is blaming Carson Wentz. Like, I'm sorry, but like is like us at like all of us at Vendetta, like, are we the only ones that realize that it's not really Carson Wentz's fault what's going on in Philly?
I swear we are.
Because
I swear we are.
Everywhere and this is insane.
I know, and I think Skip Bayless. I didn't watch the clip honestly, but he said something along the lines of like how magical Jalen Hurts performance was. He was awful. You're looking at it as from he ran for 106 yards, but we've seen what running quarterbacks, what happens to them in this league. Look at what has happened to Lamar Jackson just this season. Running quarterbacks, strictly heavily running quarterbacks will not work. So we got to look at him as a quarterback. 17 of 30 passing and 167 yards and just one touchdown. That is a terrible performance. You take away those 100 yards and you can, put that up as like the Saints really had no idea what they were getting when Hurts was coming in, because there's no game film on him whatsoever, and any game film you have on him, it's either from his time in Oklahoma where he was balling, which that's just because of Lincoln Riley's system. That's not necessarily because he's a good quarterback, or, the weird odd and end, just random like second, third down plays that Doug Peterson was running with Hurts, which is just stupid. Why do you spend, and this is where the conspiracy gains legitimacy. Why do you spend an early second round pick on a quarterback that you're only going to trot out there on third down for special packages? You don't do that. They want Hurts. They're done with Wentz, and Wentz he needs to find out to leave. But make him hurt, because he should take every single penny of that contract that they guaranteed him. And if they try to buy him out, if they try to trade him, I'm saying I'm still taking my 50, 60 million left that I'm owed, because screw you guys. You deserve it. Sorry, Chad.
110%. I mean, there's just no other way I could say that. Like, you hit every nail on the head there, but I just don't get what these guys see in Jalen Hurts. Like, I already said this before. Like, people know this. I'm an Alabama fan. I watched Jalen Hurts for a good amount of time to get a sense of what kind of quarterback he is. I don't care what he was at Oklahoma. That does not count. Lincoln Riley just has his system over there in Oklahoma is just good to just fool scouts for NFL quarterbacks, because that's exactly what he does there. Don't give me the Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma garbage. He is not a good quarterback. He was the starter, the undisputed starter on Alabama for a good 2 years. Do you know how fast his job got taken? Tua Tagovailoa took his job in one half of a game. One half.
As a freshman.
As a freshman coming in one half of a game. He
in
took
a
his
national
job.
championship.
National championship game.
Like, Saban was like, I'm going to run with the freshman that hasn't seen the field all year.
Think about
trot
that.
out Hurts
Think about
to
that.
win this game.
He didn't even trust Hurts to go out for the second half. He said, I'll stick with the freshman who literally just came from high school playing in Hawaii. I'll stick with him rather than this guy. I don't know what he's doing. Like, it's crazy to me how people think that Hurts is a good quarterback. He's not. I don't know. What do you say? He had a decent game? It wasn't even a good game. It was 100 yards passing and 100 yards rushing. Like, all right, 200 scrimmage yards. As a quarterback, okay. I mean, he threw one touchdown pass. It was mainly the defense that really held them in that game, that really won them the game. He didn't really have to do much. So, Doug Peterson what you did to Carson Wentz is criminal. And honestly, Doug Peterson should be arrested. He should be brought up on criminal charges for spreading just lies and destroying this man's career. Because this is just unreal what's going on in Philly. But let's get off this topic.
I'm not a Philly fan, though.
Yeah, no, I don't
think I could go through what Chad's going through right now.
See, like, whenever the Giants do bad, I always think it could be worse. I think to what happens in Philly, and then I also can just look across the street and see a Jets fan and go, oh well, they somehow could always be much worse. But oh man, so we'll get into our soggy toast. And now this guy is my soggy toast because just the season that he's had, and add that to the overall product of his team from when he took over. My man Anthony Lynn. Now, he won a game this week. He did win a game. Granted,
it was against the Falcons.
It was. You had the battle of the choke artists. Who could choke the hardest?
And they were trying so hard. They were turning it over left and right at the end of that game. No, you take the win. No, man, you get the win. No, it's cool. You can have the win. No, I mean, honestly, you can have the win.
Nobody wanted to win that game. But Anthony Lynn managed to not choke as hard as Matt Ryan and the Falcons. But, man, he's in my soggy toast because, like, this guy – he's got to get fired at the end of the season, right? Like, there's just no way that he's sticking around with the Chargers. I mean, I just cannot see it. That there's no shot that he sticks around. I'm surprised he hasn't been fired yet, but that's probably from the front office perspective. They probably think if we fire him now, our team might go on some bit of a run.
Yeah.
And Now that was the first Jackson. That was the first time I ever heard that train that came by your town. Now I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. That shit.
dude,
It's distracted
I'm
me
gonna
for a
turn my
second. Just
yeah, it distracted me too, man. Because that one was kind of loud. I'm gonna turn my mic down and see if it won't
no
pick it
pun
up.
intended. No pun intended. But that I lost my train of thought on that one. Oh man, but Anthony Lynn, man, you were just a soggy piece of toast, bro. And you gotta go. Like just go be a running back coach somewhere, just on the down low. Like you don't got to be in the spotlight every week. You don't got to get ripped in the media every week. Just go away. And that Chargers job would be a very enticing job because all healthy, that defense is really good. And Justin Herbert, is playing a lot better than I thought he was gonna be. So, I mean, add that with the team that they got there, I think that's a very enticing job to have. Young team, good defense. That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, it's sad because I'm a big fan of parity when it comes to sports. I want to see as much competition as possible. As much competition for the consumer, which is me,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to any product, is good. We all benefit because that means we get the best product. So when we have multiple good teams, that means that every Sunday we're going to get a good game because there's a lot of stinkers out there. You get a lot of those, Jacksonville is like,
Oh yeah,
playing I don't know, like what's a team off the top of my head that's like it's yeah,
Jacksonville and the
like the
Jets.
yeah, Jacksonville and the Jets, or Jacksonville and the Vikings, which is a legit game that happened. Which, I mean, you got Dalvin Cook in that game, but still, that's about the only thing, good about that. And it's like if that one just pops up on your local TV, it's like I'm not happy about that. I don't want to watch that. I'm too cheap to buy the Sunday ticket, and I don't want to watch this
Oh
garbage.
yeah, that's absolutely me. That's like being in the New York market. I get stuck with the Jet game at 1 o'clock because most of the time the Giants don't play until 4. For some reason they normally play the later game, and then I gotta watch the
Mhm.
Jets versus whatever terrible game they gave them this week. It'll be like it'll be something so random. Like it'll be like Jets. It'll be like the Jets and the Falcons, or like the Jets and the Panthers, and like it's just like who wants to watch this?
All right, so my soggy toast, you can say it's unfair because he's missed quite a few games this year, but the games that he has been in, the impact has been so little. It's kind of astounding. And it is Michael Thomas
Oh
of the New Orleans
yeah,
Saints.
I
Now,
know all
granted,
about
he's
this
only
guy.
like I said, he's been injured. He's only played in 7 games, so he won't even get a full he may not even reach he may if he plays like these last 3 games. So he may just get to double-digit games played. But only 40 receptions for 438 yards, 0 touchdowns. And this is a guy, again, I know he's been hurt, but it's just the games that he's been in, he's not even leaving an impact in those. And considering where he's been drafted on big boards, considering how much he's getting paid, again, I know injured, but he at being at the skill position that he is at, he's just been absolutely quiet, even when he's in the game. The games that he's healthy in, the games that he's running full speed, playing full speed, getting targets, he's he just he's not showed up this year, and it's going to be really weird. And you're going to have defenders again say, and I understand the defense that he's been injured. He's only going to play 10 games this year probably. But in those 10 games, over half of the season, no impact whatsoever.
Yeah, I was one of those people. Took Michael Thomas my first pick and went in a snake draft. Landed on my list of never draft again. I went against my rule. I went against my one biggest rule this year, just because I said, Michael Thomas, he's an exception to my rule. My rule was I don't draft
Yeah.
anybody but a running back in the first round. Like that's been my rule for years, and it's always brought me far. And this one time I was in position to get Michael Thomas. I sat there and I was like, you know what? Michael Thomas, he can be an exception to this rule. maybe this is the year I break and maybe this is the year I get over the hump and actually I actually win because I always make the playoffs and like go on a run, but then end up losing in the semifinals. So I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is the year I go big. Yeah, it was terrible. Michael Thomas was never played for me. I ended up trading him. It was whatever disastrous season. I was like 4-9 or 4-10. I don't even want to talk about it. Uh, I cannot stand Michael Thomas. He's been added to my list of don't draft again, along with my list of never bet on these teams again, which is the Chicago Bears. And the reason I'm bringing up the list of never betting on people again is because my toast of the week. The toast of the week is me and everybody I know and on Twitter and in the world that bet on the Browns on Monday night. Took the spread. We took +3. We were thinking, I know what everyone was thinking because I was thinking this. I said it's a home underdog. The Browns are playing real well. You know, they hate the Ravens. They're tired of losing to the Ravens. This may be the game where they get them. This is going to be the game where they win. Everyone knows what happened. I don't got to recap it. I don't got to recap what led up to that point. Lamar Jackson drinking some Pepto-Bismol, running back out there like Superman on 4th and 6, tying the game.
Like Paul Pierce in the playoffs.
Paul Pierce in the friggin' NBA Finals 2008. I still don't like him for about that. And I got that happening, and then all that for Baker Mayfield to drive right down the field, take the lead. And I'm like, okay, a field goal means we cover. That is perfectly okay with me. I got no issues with what's going on right now. Field goal, well, we didn't cover. Field goal meant that we just pushed. And I was like, that's fine. That's that. You know what? I'll take the push as long as I don't lose money. Then comes the play. The worst play to anybody that bets on these spreads, these games, is the pitchy woo with no time left on the clock. We got laterals and there's a whole bunch of hootenanny and tomfoolery going on. Guys throwing the ball over their head, going the wrong way. I was praying that Jarvis Landry threw the ball forward when he threw it across the field to Kareem Hunt, praying that it was a forward pass, but it wasn't. Ends up going out of the back of the end zone. Worst beat of the year. I lose my 4-leg parlay with one team left, and that was the Browns. So me, myself, and everyone else who bet on this game are toast of the week for being Browns bettors. Also, furthermore, I've been added to the list of teams I will never bet on again. It's now the Chicago Bears and the Cleveland Browns. Congratulations.
Man, I feel like every year that list is just going to get smaller and smaller as teams just implode on parlays for you.
Oh man,
that's great.
I'm gonna have a post probably at the end of the year, and it's gonna be a list of teams I'll never bet on and players I'm never drafting again, fantasy-wise. And I will keep this list forever. I will add to it or take them off, depending on what happens. But most likely, it's just going to get teams added to it until I got the entire NFL on the list of teams I'll never bet on.
I'm just never betting anymore. Oh, man. All right. So my soggy toast for this week. Does it get any sadder going back to the Atlanta Falcons somehow being the greatest chokers of choke artists, starting with their quarterback, Matt Ryan? Just every chance he got to move down the field, it just felt like he was giving the ball away. 3 picks, QBR of 41.3, getting outclassed by Justin Herbert. Is just a bad performance. I honestly don't have much to say. It's starting to become a regular performance for Matt Ryan, which is sad because had a chance to win a Super Bowl and cement himself as being a pretty good quarterback. I don't want to go as far as saying that he would have been a Hall of Famer had he won that. But I mean, he's a league MVP and he was been in the MVP race a lot in his time. And we're seeing the rapid decline of Matt Ryan. So, but yeah, he is my soggy toast for an awful performance in a game that just kind of cemented where the Falcons are heading to from now until probably 10 years from now.
Yeah, the
The Falcons are
Falcons.
the only, or not the Falcons, but the Hawks are like the only hope for all of Atlanta sports, and the Braves. I take
And the
that back. The
Braves.
Braves,
Yep, yep.
but the Braves, they're the Braves, so they'll choke. They went to like what 6 or 7 World Series in a row and only won one back in the '90s, back
Yep,
when
where
with
they
Chipper Jones.
yep, where they played the Yankees like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
The,
yeah,
the Yankees the
exactly.
Yankees just kept beating them. And then even this year they were up I think they were up 3-2. They were up 3-2 or 3-1 on the Dodgers, and the Dodgers came back and won
Yeah,
that
yeah,
won the
they blew a
NLCS.
big lead to the Dodgers. Yeah,
Yep. See, it's just I said this before. Atlanta and the state of Georgia breed nothing but choke artists. Every professional and collegiate team there is
hmm
just destined to choke at some point. In some big game, they are destined for it. Yeah, the Georgia Bulldogs, the national championship against Alabama, where Tua brought Alabama all the way back from a halftime deficit and beat them in overtime. Then the Falcons in the Super Bowl, as we know, and then the Falcons in just about every other game throughout the season. The Braves are the playoffs. The Atlanta Hawks are the only ones with any sort of
yeah. You
promise.
you wanna talk about teams to never bet for? Never bet on an Atlanta-based team if
Yep.
it is any sort of big game or like championship playoff game. Don't do it.
It's called the
You'll
fade
you'll
the
win
fade the
you will
Atlanta
win
team
more
game.
money than you will lose.
Yep. Oh man, but definitely Atlanta. Just sorry, I just feel bad for them, man. Just sorry for them. Sorry, Matt Ryan. Yeah, choke artist. You're the king of it. But so next up, we'll go to our predictions for next week. Now, this one we kind of talked about it before, but this one's a little unique. So my prediction for Toast next week is going to be my man Carson Wentz, and not because he's going to play bad because he's not playing because they're going to start Jalen Hurts, but because I already can see the writing on the wall. Jalen Hurts is going to be the starter. They are going to trade Carson Wentz this offseason, and I think next week you're going to see Carson Wentz sit there on the bench, and he's going to sit there and he's going to look out into the field. He's going to be like, they really don't like me anymore. Like they really think I'm trash. They really think I'm trash. And he's gonna go right to his agent. He's gonna say, find me somewhere to go because we're getting out of here. And you know what? I hope he does well. I would love if the Giants traded for him just so he can go and beat the Eagles twice a year. That would be so great if he just went to an in-division opponent. I wouldn't even be mad like if he went to the Washington football team and became their quarterback next year and just beat the Eagles every time they played. I would even be upset about it. But Carson
Yeah.
Wentz next week, you will probably officially be toast as far as your Eagles career is concerned.
Yeah. Side note, real quick, setting up for the next couple years, good matchups between the Giants and Washington football team for control of the division. I don't know of too many people that are talking about it, but those are two teams that if they just figure a couple of things out, they'll both end up like in 2 years, each having winning records for like the next 5 or 6 years, and it's always going to
Yeah.
come down to like a game or two for the division. And like I said, parity's great. So that competition's great. So that means when we get to this time, like 2 years from now, and if they're still the Washington football team, or if, they actually decide to finally name themselves, I, I just, I'm
I would
sorry, but I
prefer
don't see
them. I
how
would I
difficult
would
it is.
prefer them to name themselves just for the sole reason of whenever I write an article and I have to mention them, I'm so tired of writing 3 words for a team. Like not just like I can't just write Atlanta Falcons, Carolina Panthers. I gotta write the
Yeah.
Washington football team. Like it's just so wordy and so long. I'm
Or it's
tired
like
of
after the first time you mention them, you can't do like abbreviation. So it's like the Falcons or Miami or something
yeah.
like that.
They're
No,
just
you
like
just
what am I
you
gonna
got to
call
say
them?
the Washington football
The
team.
Washington football. Like come on, man. Pick a name.
Yeah. So my toast prediction, I almost picked him over Michael Thomas for one of my toasts this week. But I'm gonna go with Cam Newton playing against my Miami Dolphins.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying not to be a homer here, man. I feel like I'm being a homer, but I just wanna, obviously, be clear. I am a Dolphins fan, but I try to feel like that with my teams. I try to be like, as open and honest as I can, and try not to fanboy and be as open-minded and level-headed as possible. Um, but just my thinking is that this defense just picked off a great quarterback 3 times. Their cover schemes are amazing right now.
Yeah,
They
your
are
your your
so.
corners your corners were doing
Xavier
doing
Howard
some
has more
Damian Howard.
interceptions
He was
than
doing
like
work.
half of the NFL teams this year.
What
He's
does he have
got
like 8?
9.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got 9.
He's
That's
got 9,
crazy.
but he's
That's
got 9 this season,
crazy.
and I think 8 games in a row he's had an interception.
I not gonna lie, he should be I would I would
Oh, hashtag
I'm
Hall of
actually gonna
Fame, hashtag Pro Bowl.
I'm
You
actually gonna
know,
go look at I'm gonna go look at the odds, see what his odds are for defensive player of the year. Nine picks of the year, that's pretty good.
no, he's having a fantastic year, and I'm so happy for him. And it's honestly because this team is just so well coached from top to bottom. The only limitations that they have are the players. That's
Hmm.
honestly it. That's what our ceiling is right now is because of the players. But possibility, as much as I love Deshaun Watson, I'm rooting for them to fail so that way they get a top pick because I want the kid out of LSU. I hope they can nab him. What's his name? I'm having a brain fart here, but
The wide receiver?
yeah, wide receiver from LSU.
Demar Chase? Is that
Yeah,
what you're talking
Demar
about?
Chase. That's
Yeah.
him. Yeah, I hope they land Demar Chase because Parker and Jakeem Grant are good, but you know they're not number one guys. You can't have Parker as your one and Jakeem Grant as your number two. You need Parker as your like two slash like 2A and 2B. That's kind of like what they are,
That's the
or
only thing I feel like is missing from your wide receiver core is just a true number one. Like
true number one. And
I like Devontae Parker, but he's not a number one.
yeah, no,
He's a good number two though. He's like a solid like number two guy.
yeah, like I know we're getting a little off topic, but just 2 quick things about that game is that Devontae Parker did drop a touchdown in the end
Yeah.
zone off the top of his fingers. Yeah, it was a high throw, but sometimes Parker's tall. He's supposed to be able to jump pretty good. So you got it. You got as a quarterback, that's the spot you want to miss at. Only your receiver can catch it. He don't catch it. That's on him. You did a good job.
Yeah.
And then Tua's first interception of his career and his only interception this season it bounced off of Jakeem Grant's, bounced off his chest and bounced off his hands and popped in the air. And one of the safeties nabbed it. But anyway, Cam Newton, that's who we're supposed to be talking about. But
Bringing it back.
Cam has just disappeared. Cam's just disappeared, and I said all that stuff because I wanted to hit home the point that this is a different Dolphins team than the Week 1 loss that they suffered.
Yeah.
And no one really knew how Cam was going to be. Belichick was playing with his new toy. And I think they've all bought into the idea of Tua being their quarterback. I think he showed a lot of chops this past week. I think that those final 2 drives that he had that were touchdown drives, it was like 75 and 80 yards back to back, marched them down the field for a touchdown. And, that shows the cojones that man has, that he's got what it takes to lead an NFL team. And so I think everybody in the locker room is looking at him a bit differently. And of course, I think they got one of the greatest coaches in the NFL, or will be, and should 100% be considered for coach of the year. Probably won't get it because it'll probably either go to Tomlin or one of the guys at the top. That's normally how it goes. It may not even be Tomlin anymore. It may be Andy Reid if the Chiefs run the table.
Probably
But
maybe Sean Payton or
yeah, Sean Payton. Yeah, the only reason I say like Reed is because if you go 15-1, that's hard to
Yeah,
ignore.
I feel like everybody on the Chiefs is just up for awards at this point. Like,
yeah, pretty much. But yeah, that defense, it's a top 5 defense in the league, hands down. Don't even have to look at the stats.
no,
It just is the way that they play from week to
it
week.
just is. You don't even gotta look.
And the amount of turnovers they get, and they're keeping all these games close. Even against the Chiefs, that ended up being a close game. I know a lot of it came at the end, but at the end of the day, the Chiefs had to stop the Dolphins, and they didn't. They let a rookie quarterback pounded in on them twice and kept it close, and which, then Mahomes marched them down. They got a field goal, and that sealed the deal.
Yeah.
But, I don't, Cam, he's also a different beast. I don't know what happened after he came back with COVID. He just is not the same player that he was in the first 3 games of the season. And so I think it's going to be a bad time for him, and probably going to be talking about him next week. Or, yeah, well, whenever the next time we meet, probably. I don't know. Because next week is like Christmas Eve or something is the
yeah.
is the next
Thursday's Christmas Eve. Well, we'll let you guys know when next Toast Time episode's coming up.
Yeah.
We'll work our schedule. Yeah, we'll discuss our schedule. But Cam Newton early on in the season, I thought he was going to have an okay year, which, I mean, listen, man, it was just Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels. They kind of just like they had a really good like first 2 games. Like the Dolphins, I'm sure you can even admit this. Like early on in the season, like nobody really knew what to expect from them, and probably they didn't even know what to expect from themselves. So this is going to be a completely different game this time around, and I fully agree with you. I think Cam Newton's going to get. I see Cam Newton get picked off like 2-3 times in this game. Like that's how good that Dolphin secondary is. But
I know, and just to tell you how good this team has played this season, they have not lost a game by double digits. Or the only game they lost by double digits was a 10-point game, and that was first game of the season against the Patriots. Their other losses, the Bills, they lost 31-28, Seahawks 31-23, Broncos, which is probably their worst loss of the season, they lost 20-13, and then just against the Chiefs 33-27.
Yeah, Dolphins are Dolphins are the scrappy team. They're like the Dolphins are what I would have wanted the Giants to be like, only if we could have. See, you guys came out on top of some of those close games, whereas early on in the season, the Giants just couldn't win those games.
Yeah, and that's where you can tell like where teams are like in their rebuilds is like in those close games. Are they the ones coming out on top? They're making like the 1 or 2 extra plays, or are they coming short?
Yeah,
And and the fact that they've beat some teams handily, and every single loss outside of one has been within 1 score. And you need 2 touchdowns to win that first game of the year, but. Just, I can't wait for next season, honestly. And we're fighting for a playoff spot. I never expected us to be here, but happy to be here. It's a weird feeling. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I look out there and like a team I root for winning. What? I'm used to disappointment my whole life.
Got a very good chance to be 11-5. And, I'm telling you what, I'm really going to look for you play the Bills in week 17.
Week 17 is the Bills.
Could be for the AFC East title.
Could be if we beat the Pats, which I think we can, and then Alex, they're coming to stomp on that horrific defense that belongs to the Raiders.
Oh yeah,
Tua's going to have a career game. It's going to throw for 400 yards and like 5 touchdowns.
Dolphins by 100 in that game.
Yeah, if they come out firing on all cylinders, if the Bills slip up once, then that could be that Broncos game probably, if anything, will be the one that holds us back. That was a really bad loss.
Yeah, but hey, you never know, and still in it. You're still in it. So you're telling me there's a chance. But anyway, all right, guys, that's it for Toast Time today. Be sure to like and subscribe to our channel. Know when you guys watch the video, just hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate it. It helps us out a lot. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. We probably will, but I'll say it anyway. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll get to talking to you guys again soon.